right, good morning. Welcome back. Camera's wrong. Hold on. Hey, if you guys want to pay YouTube, let me know. I'll be more than happy to bring the old music back. Just go ahead and pay YouTube for me. We'll bring it back. Go ahead and shoot YouTube an email. Tell them, hey, sorry about the copyright. I'll go ahead and fund the entire thing. And then I'll go ahead and bring that music back. Morning, guys. Welcome back. Buenos dias. Bonjour. Que pasa, güey? Morning, Marvin. Marvin, I'm gonna find out how what hats they made, because these hats are really good. I'll try to figure out Flex Fit NU. There it is. Flex Fit NU, Marvin. Gotta try to find these. YUPOONG. Yupong. Made in Bangladesh. Good hats. Should I wear it? Buenos dias. Go Panthers. I don't know about the Panthers, man. Yeah, good game. I really wanted McJesus to get the cup, but oh well. What did I write? Did I say 51-10? Probably, right? I messed that up. 55-10. Sorry about that. Yep. Morning. Yeah, Nvidia, nice little dip buy yesterday off 115. That was our big golden zone, so that's very interesting today. Chef, hope your mom's okay. Prayers out to Chef's mom. Cuban coffee. Miami next weekend. Is there a meetup? Probably not. No meetup in Miami. I won't be there. All right. Good morning, guys. Hope you can't talk. Hope everyone had a good day yesterday. I had a okay day. I lost about $600. I never really quite got anything going, and I just walked away. It was one of those days where I just really didn't quite find anything intraday, early morning. There was a very nice fade later day off of our 5560. If you guys were paying attention to our technical levels on the ES and the SPY, that was a really nice. I think it was 546.50 on the SPY, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, 546.50 was one of our key levels yesterday. Right there. Beautiful fade off that. And then on ES, a beautiful fade right off our supply zone that we talked about yesterday in the live stream. So really nice, right? We talked about that. Remember, verbatim what we talked about yesterday. Demand lows could create an upside move. That upside move could go into the supply, and it could be nothing more than a scalp back to the downside, right? And so this is pretty much what we did yesterday, right? We went demand lows to supply highs. We went supply highs back to demand lows. That was pretty much our entire day. So, hey, a nice opportunity within the channel, right? Within the channel, nice supply there. Nice demand lows early morning yesterday off 544 on the SPY. So it was a very nice, structured, upside and downside move yesterday between key levels, and that's what you like to see. So it was very clean. I just didn't quite catch it. I explained to you guys in the group what happened. Not going to go over that entire thing. We went through it in detail yesterday. Sort of what caused my mistake yesterday. So, yeah, just didn't quite get anything going yesterday. It's going to be like that. You're going to have those days in trading, guys. It's the realism of trading. Some days you catch it well, some days you don't. Yesterday was one of the days I did not. But I'm happy to see that the levels are intact, right? That gives me confidence that I can look for the same, setups today. Demand level still intact on ES. Some levels to be watching here on the NASDAQ. And still some very clear supply and rejection levels above to be watching as well. So some nice stuff. Some nice stuff yesterday between two ferns, pretty much. Between two ferns, if anyone has watched that show. Yeah, Josh, I agree, man. That's sort of my mentality. If I don't find anything by 11:30, 12 o'clock, I walk. And that's just how it's going to be for me. It always will be. It's always going to be. And, no matter how many opportunities may arise later in the day, I don't really enjoy. It's helped me stay fresh. It's helped me stay, precise. It's helped me look forward to the next day, look forward to new opportunities. I don't want to sit here till 3, 4 o'clock looking for trades all day. Just not something that I aspire to do in my trading. It may make me miss out on some opportunities. For example, I wasn't really around at my desk when we did reject yesterday, right? So I pretty much jumped off the charts right around here, right around 11:30, 12 o'clock, and about 45 minutes to an hour later, you got your downside move. So, of course, walking away from the desk did help, did make me miss out on that nice supply rejection yesterday. Of course, part of me says, hey, you could have caught that, but that's just how it is, man. That's what I live by. So I like to live by something. I like to keep things consistent, and I take that first 2 hours. If I don't find anything, I walk. So that was my day yesterday in a nutshell. Today, same levels on the ES, not the same levels on the NASDAQ, though. The NASDAQ, we saw some very, very clear divergence yesterday, which is part of the reason why I did not catch as much as I would have liked. We saw that nice upside move yesterday on the ES and some decent strength on the ES most of the morning. But the NASDAQ, very different. And semiconductors, very different, right? You guys saw those semiconductors underperform greatly. Nvidia, TSM, MU, Qualcomm, right? Some really strong underperformance on the semiconductors. SMCI, another one, under our 880 level that we talked about. And so that semiconductor weakness is something to pay attention to. The NASDAQ definitely got hit because of the semiconductor weakness, right? More tech weighting, more semiconductor weighting in the NASDAQ. And something to be focused on, right? Something to be focused on. So we'll see if that happens again today. We'll go ahead and take a look at all that. Let's go ahead and start here with the economic calendar. Before we start with the economic calendar, you guys know what to do, man. Go ahead and press that like button for me, if you guys could. We got to keep these live streams going. We got to keep the lights on, and all I need and all I ask from you guys is just to press the like button when you jump in here. So right here, guys, Tuesday is our economic calendar. You guys can see we really don't have much here. 9 o'clock, we have the HPI, which I'm not even sure what HPI is. I'm pretty sure I looked this up previously, and I forgot already what it is. What is HPI? HPI, Housing Price Index. Okay, I never seen that abbreviation for it. So Housing Price Index, I know what that is, but I never saw that abbreviation. So HPI, you guys can see right here. That's our Housing Price Index. 9 o'clock, S&P Composite 20, that's the House Pricing Index. So 2 home House Pricing Index here at 9 o'clock. 10 o'clock, we have that Consumer Confidence. We'll be making sure we are aware of that. Okay, so maybe today you wait 30 minutes, right? Maybe today you wait 30 minutes before you start trading. 10 o'clock, 30 minutes after open, we do have the Consumer Confidence Report. Let's be aware of that. Tomorrow, new home sales. Thursdays where it starts to heat up. GDP unemployment claims. Pending home sales, 10 o'clock on Thursday as well. And then our core core PCE price index. So today, really just the 10 o'clock data is where you want to be aware, right? Right there. 30 minutes after open, let's make sure we're aware of that today. All right? Okay, let's jump right into it. Let's go into the NASDAQ. Let's get into what levels held yesterday, what levels rejected, why we moved to the downside. And there's a very clear reason why we moved to the downside. We talked about this verbatim in the live stream yesterday. We said if the NASDAQ cannot hold 19,900, then we are going to move lower, right? We said we need to hold above these previous highs and that Monday low. If we can hold above that, we can try to push higher. But if we fail it and we break below it, that is where the downside can start to come in on the NASDAQ futures. And if I go to the 5-minute chart, you guys can see right here, once we broke under that 19.9, look at the downside pressure that started to come in. right? Right as we broke under that 19.9 right here, we broke under it. We stayed under it around that 12:45, 12:40 time frame. And once we got under that, you guys can see right there, it was downside pressure. So that 19,900, very clear, very good reason for that downside continuation. We talked about that yesterday, and that was just a technical level that failed and moved lower. You can see we talked about if we get under that 19.9, we'll probably trade to the channel lows, which is right here, right here, right here, and that is exactly where we traded down into. So very good on the NASDAQ, right? Between levels, very clear. We failed 19.9. The next demand is down at 19,750, and that is exactly where we traded to yesterday, right there. Very nice, very pretty, between two levels. Clean technical move there on the NASDAQ futures. Today, we are holding 19,750, and we are still above that FOMC low around that 19,690. So we're still above these lows right here. This is our next demand that we need to be paying attention to, right? So now we need to be aware if we do trade lower into 19,750, this could be a hold level to be cautious of if we are short. Where's the next short level that I would really want to look for today on the NASDAQ futures? Pop and fade into 19.9, right? Right here, 19.9, 19.9. That was that breakdown level yesterday. If we pop to the upside today and push into 19,900, be careful of the rejections, right? That is exactly where you want to look for your next short entry would be back into these lows, into that 19,900. If we trade higher into that today, be aware of that break and retest rejection. Be aware of 19.9 turning into a new high, right? A lower high, right? Lower high, lower lows. Here's your high. Here's a lower high potentially. Here's your lows. Here's a lower low, right? So you are still in that sort of lower low, lower high formation here on the NASDAQ. And so if we stay below that previous low at 19.9, this is still a weak market on the NASDAQ. So that's going to be a big spot today. If we do bounce off this 19,750 demand, which you can see is finding something this morning, we're seeing a little bit of action off that 750 low. We could possibly trade back higher into 990, and that is either going to be your next rejection spot, or if we do reclaim and we hold above, this could actually be a very interesting long spot, right? If we get back over that 19.9 and we hold back above these previous highs, right, this could actually be quite an interesting long spot on the NASDAQ futures today if it finds that strength back over 19.9. So very important there, right? Very important there. 19,750. We have that FOMC low, 19,690. We have that very clear 19,900. And now the question is, right, the question that you're asking is, do we need to fully pull back to that CPI move, right? Do we need, go back. The question now is, do we need to give back the CPI upside move, right? That is sort of what's on my mind. You can see right here, that CPI upside move from 19,530, that's also right here. That is also, what else, guys? What else is right there? That's your 20 daily SMA, right? You can see right there, that thick blue line, the thick boy, right there, right? And so does the NASDAQ need to pull back? Does it need to give back that CPI upside? Do we need to come back down to that 19,530 before we find real buying strength? That's going to be the big question here. You definitely can see that that's a valid level there. You can see that we had holds, CPI straight up. This is the daily 20 SMA. Is it possible that the NASDAQ needs to get down to that level? It is, right? That is possible. But what will you need to break before you even look for that? You got to get back under the 750. You got to get under the 690. If you get under those two levels, then I'd say it's time for that pullback to 530, right? So very clear little channel here today, right? We had a clear channel yesterday. We broke the channel lows, which caused that downside action. Here's your channel today. 750 to 990. 750 to 900. You got your 750 lows. You got your 900 supply. Watch between this range today. That is what I will be watching on the NASDAQ futures. QQQ, same exact read, right? If we go to this QQQ, we go to the 30-minute chart. We talked about that 479 yesterday. We talked about those highs, right? 479, 479, and 479. Once we broke under that 479 yesterday, take a look at what the NASDAQ did. We pretty much lived under 479 all day, right? 479 rejections, 479 rejections. We were under 479, which led to that downside pressure. So as long as we're under 479 on the QQQ, this is, again, a downside moving market, right? A downside structuring market. Previous highs and previous lows, right? You have a new high and a new low, right? Lower highs, lower lows. You are trading in the downside structuring move here. So as long as we're under 479, this could be a rejection point on any push higher. If we push higher, be careful of 479 rejecting on the QQQ. The level that is holding right now looks to be 474, which is some of these previous lows, and we have that 472.70, which is that FOMC low, right? So right there, 474 is your double bottom low for today. So if we go to the 15-minute chart and we zoom in here, it's a pretty defined channel, I think, today. We have that 474 low, we have that 479 previous low, and now into a potential rejection point. So if we do trade higher today, watch that 479, right? If we trade lower, watch out for that hold at 474. If we break above 479, that could be a reason for more upside, right? Right above 479. And if we trade below 474, I would say that could trade back down to that FOMC low 472.70. If we break the 472.70, right? This is where that question comes in. If we break below this, that FOMC low, which is right here, you do not have any support until 469, okay? You got to remember that, right? If we do break this 472.70, if we do break below that FOMC low on Wednesday the 12th, you do not have support, right? Let me go to the 5-minute. Let me get more time. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. If you go back, let me zoom out. If you go back to here, right? Look at this. This is that CPI and FOMC day. You can see FOMC lows 472.70, which was also that CPI high. That was very nice, right, on that day. Right there, you can see highs into lows at 472.70. But if you break below that, I'm going to assume that this thing starts to travel pretty aggressively to the downside in this straight up move. And that's not going to stop until 469. Right? So if we go back to that hourly chart, you can see right here, if we do break below that FOMC low, then I'm going to say I think you're moving aggressively lower towards 469, right? And if you break under 469, well, you got even more, possibly down to that 465 and that daily 20 SMA. So important levels here, right, on the NASDAQ and the QQQ. Really, the question is, are semiconductors continued, or do we continue to see semiconductors stay weak? Does the NASDAQ continue to be weak versus other markets? Because yesterday we saw a very strong Dow, which helped the ES continue higher, or at least maintain. But the NASDAQ was under a lot of pressure because of that semiconductor weakness. So today, it's really about, do we hold this low? If we do, the markets will maintain, right? If we hold above 474 and you see a little bit of bounce back on some semis like Nvidia, like SMCI, I'm going to assume that the NASDAQ remains higher today, possibly trading back higher into that 479. But that's yet to be seen, right? That's yet to be seen. The S&P, this is what I'm talking about when I say outperformance on the S&P. The S&P 500 did not break our key demand level yesterday. It did not. It held it, right? And this is something that was a little tricky yesterday, right? Because while the NASDAQ was showing some weakness, you still had to be careful of shorting into this 55.10, 55.18. And you can see, once again, it is holding above that level, which is those previous highs, right? Previous highs, still holding above it. All right, so the S&P 500 is still holding above a very key demand here at 55.10, 55.18. If you break 55.10, that's where we said we can, look for that downside continuation, but that did not happen yet. All right, that did not happen yet. If we break 55.10, we move to 54.90, we move to 54.70. Those are the pullback levels I'd be watching. But for now, right, take a look at this on the short term. On the 15-minute chart, what did we do yesterday? We traded higher. We rejected our 55.60, which we knew was a rejection spot. We moved lower, and we held 55.10 pretty much on the dot, right? On the dot, 55.10 defending here on the ES. So you have to break this low. If you break this low, I could see S&Ps moving lower, right? If we break this 5510 low, you will see the S&P move lower towards 5490. If you continue to just sort of base above this level, you have to be cautious of this continuing to be that demand spot that pushes this market higher. But of course, it's the same concept we talked about yesterday. Yesterday, we said if you do long this 5510, right? If you do long here at 5510, 5518, it is nothing more than a scalp long into 5550, 5560. And that is exactly what happened yesterday. The scalp long showed up, but the fade ultimately came in. So if we do get scalp longs today off 5510, you are only looking for longs into this level, right? Because this could be, again, another fade move as you trade within this channel, right? So for real strong upside continuation, if you're looking for it, you really want to see us hold above 5560. A hold above that 5560, 5550 area would be a very nice upside continuation and a confirmation, but we have not seen that yet, right? So that is going to be the confirmation for upside if we can get back above this very clear supply zone above. For now, the very important demand zone is holding. And right now, you're doing nothing but trading in this channel, all right? SPY, same thing, right? You can see SPY here. It looks like the 542 level is sort of that level that held here, 542, and that Monday low. You see that Monday low at 542, which is where we held yesterday on the SPY. You are back above the 543.50, which is that previous major high and low, which you are back above here, 543.50. So you are right back above that demand on the SPY ETF today, holding that 542 above that 543.50. But what's the problem here, right? And we talked about this yesterday. What was the best short opportunity, or what was the fade opportunity yesterday? Back into these previous lows, which is exactly where the SPY faded yesterday at 546.50. So if we do get upside today, the concept remains the same. You are only looking for upside into this supply level. This could once again be that fade slot to be careful of, okay? If you get above 546.50, that's where you can possibly confirm some more upside. Above this high, back above these lows, then you can look for that upside continuation. So 542, 543.50, and 546.50 are the levels to be watching on the SPY. Russell, a little bit of strength yesterday. Nothing wild, but a little bit of strength again off that demand low at 2035. It rejected, however, the 20 and 50 SMA. I mean, look at how heavy those SMAs are holding this Russell lower. So really not something I'm that interested in, but you can see and notice some strength there on the Russell. And the Dow Jones was the beast of the day, right? But look at that 40,000 level. I mean, right on the dot, 39,999, right? 39,999 on the key. On the dot, 40,000, very tough level, right? We can see that is exactly where we rejected, and 40,000 has multiple rejections on it. If we go back, right, look at this 40,000 level right here. 40,000, rejections, 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 and we went right back into it yesterday, and we rejected the Dow at that 40,000 level. The level that I would be looking for holds now, if the Dow wants to remain strong, is 39.7. So if we break this down to the 30-minute chart, look at this. All right, look at how clear this is on the Dow. You have previous highs, 39.7, 39.7. You broke above it. You went into 40K. You are retracing, right? And so if we retrace back to that 39.7, is this your new long entry, right, at 39.7? Do we hold above these previous double top highs on the Dow Jones at 39.7? This would be the level that needs to hold if you want to see Dow maintain this upside move. If the Dow fails back under 39.7, this is pretty much a wasted move yesterday, right? Because we are right back under those highs. So you do not want to see the Dow back under 39.7 if you are wanting to see Dow upside continuation, okay? If you want to see Dow upside continuation, you really want to see that 39.7 turn into a low today and see that upside push off of it. So 39.7 to 40,000. It looks to be, I don't know why I put it that way. This is green down here. 39.7 to 40,000. That is your 300-point range on the Dow Jones today. Okay? All right. Wow, we got a lot of likes so far this morning. I'll give it 5 more minutes before we run the ads. I'll give it 5 more minutes. Press that like button. Let's get 1,000 likes before 9 or 8:30. Tesla. So if you guys are part of the group chat, part of the Discord, you know that I entered some Tesla longs last night. Whether it's right or wrong, guys, I really don't care at this point. I want to have long exposure to Tesla. This is the first time that I have seen something of a structuring move on Tesla, right? I can start to see something like this. I'm starting to notice a little bit of a change here, right? And why is that? Why am I noticing something of a change here? I really like how Tesla is holding above the 20 and the 100 SMA here. I like that, right? I like that it's trying to hold above 180. I like that it's basing above this SMA. I think this is something important, right? Because you can see right here, we got above that 20, we held it. We pulled back, look at the hold at the 20 and the 100. We pushed higher again. We pulled back, we held above that 20 and 100 SMA again, right? And we're pushing higher, we pulled back. We're still holding above that 20 and 100 SMA. I like that, right? That's interesting. That's something. There's something here that has slightly changed on Tesla, right? Before it was doing this. Now it looks like it's trying to build something here. I'm interested, to say the least. I'm slightly exposed, right? I have some risk. I'm not going to go balls deep, which I know a lot of people love to do. That's not what I'm doing, right? That's just dumb. But I definitely want to have exposure, right? I want to have exposure. And so that's why I longed it yesterday on the pullback. I longed it near close on the pullback move. And it looks like it should be good this morning. So far, a nice push to the upside and a very clear, I think we can all say, a very clear wedge is forming here, right? This is as clear as it can be, right? You have this very clear compression that looks to be starting here on Tesla. It's coming to that point where you're either going to be a really aggressive downside move or you're going to get that push, right? So it's interesting. I'm long, just to be fully transparent with you guys. I do have some overnight longs on Tesla, and we shall see, right? We shall see. So the levels that we need to watch as of right now, if we go to the 30-minute chart, you guys can see right here, 30-minute chart, we have this 186, which continues to be that very clear rejection spot. So we're going to need to see a hold above 186. That's very important. And the very clear top side or even higher supply is at 189 and 190, right? So some very clear levels above, right? Some very clear levels above. We have 190, 189, 186. We got to get above those. But for now, I do like this hold at that 182.50, and I really like the hold above 180. It seems as though Tesla's trying to build something here. So we shall see. We shall see. Today, it's going to be all about 186, guys. Let's see what happens at 186. That's going to be the key. All right. Nvidia. 4-hour chart. Let's just clear this chart. Let's put no drawings on the chart. Let's just, actually, we're going to leave just one drawing at the chart, and it's going to be 115. 115, a very, very interesting spot on Nvidia this week, right? Take a look at this 4-hour chart. You have the major previous highs post earnings at 115 right there. You can clearly see on the 4-hour chart we had a lot of struggle at 115, which would be 1150 pre-split, and we had a trouble getting through it. We had a little pullback, and then we had that sort of after getting above it, right? After getting above that 115 level, you had the upside really come in. After getting over 115, that is the exact level that we pulled back to yesterday. Is this the long spot, right? Is 115 where we should be looking for that pullback long in Nvidia? That is going to be very much on a lot of people's mind today. This is about, right, and this is no joke of a pullback, guys. This is a 18% pullback on Nvidia. That's almost bear market territory, right? Technically, the definition for bear market is a 20% pullback from the highs. This is an 18% pullback on Nvidia. I think there will be value. Some people, at least, or I would assume traders will look at this as a potential opportunity. So I'm very intrigued. 115 looks like a very interesting spot. I think Chef actually bought some longs off this yesterday. Chef, I saw your tweet this morning. So if you did, congratulations this morning. You should be up nicely. But here's the problem, right? Here's the problem. Correction, I guess you'd call it, right? Is that the technical term? Bear market correction. Here's the problem. You still need Nvidia to get some bullish market structure because there has not been structure here yet on the upside. Because why do I say that? Because you're still rejecting under previous lows, right? Yesterday, you had pre-market low, or you had previous lows from Friday turn into a rejection spot, right? So you have previous lows turning into a rejection spot, right? And so that is bearish, right? You have lows into new highs. That's bearish, right? You have lows into potentially today still new highs, okay? So you have to get over 123 to feel like this can continue. Because what could this do? It could just push into 123, reject the previous pre-market lows from yesterday, and just sort of fail once again, right? That is very possible. It's very possible that this is just a pop and fail again on Nvidia. We have to start to see that bullish structure come back in, right? We have to get these previous lows turning into new lows, right? We need Nvidia to get over 123 and hold it as a new support level. That is going to be very important. If we can get that and we can pop off that up above 125, and then we can see 125 start to hold, gets above 127, see 127 start to hold, that is what you want to, that's the sort of formation that you're going to want to start seeing. As of right now, I'm still a little bit cautious because this is still a very clear rejection spot at 123, and it could just fail today. Maybe trapping some longs in, people get maybe too excited too early, and this thing fails 123, and it fails that daily 20 SMA. Very possible today, guys, and something to be aware of, right? I'm not saying we're just going all in on this long at 115. I want to see something form first. I'd like to see us get over 123. If we can get over 123, I will possibly be looking for maybe a 2-week out contract on Nvidia to see if this thing starts to retrace back to the upside. Something I will be focused on. This is definitely an opportunity to be aware of, right? Because there is opportunity here. There will be opportunity here at some point. You can see 123 is a very key level, and I need to see us above that. If we do not see us above 123, then I probably will not touch this. If I see a rejection of 123, I will look for that fade back down to 115. 115 must hold. If we break 115, Nvidia moves lower, okay? If we break this 115, Nvidia moves lower. But 115 is going to be the spot that must hold on Nvidia. AMD, same shit as always, man. AMD had some very aggressive candles yesterday. Crazy candles, actually, on AMD yesterday. But it just simply could not break the channel. 159 to 163. There was trades all day on AMD between this level. There was a morning long off this level into the supply highs. There was a morning short off this level into the demand lows. There was even an afternoon long off this level into the supply highs. And there was even an afternoon short off this level into the demand lows, right? Look at this. 1, right? Trade 1, trade 2, trade 3, trade 4, right? All day, right in between this very clear zone on AMD. So what is my recommendation today? Either look for the longs here, look for the shorts here. If we break above and hold above, then look for that continuation to either side, right? Either side. Okay. TSM. Another one that I would be watching for pullbacks on TSM, right? Why? So we have let's see. We have a 10% pullback on TSM. We have come back down into a very important 166.66 level. That is a gap fill, right? We filled that gap, so that's good, right at that 166.66. You guys should remember this level because it's the devil's number, and we definitely have talked about this. 166.66 is that previous level, right? That previous high right here, that gap fill right here, and we filled it yesterday on the downside. We're also getting close to that daily 20 SMA, which is sort of trending higher, right? We have this 20 SMA sort of trending higher, and it sort of pulled back to it, very close to it, has a nice pop this morning. What's the key this morning? What's the key to see if this can continue higher? It's very clear right here. We need to hold above 170. We have to hold above 170. This high right here and these lows right here, we need to see TSM maintain 170 today. If TSM maintains 170, I think you will trade higher into that 173.50. Okay? If you fail back under 170, then this is probably just going to pull right back down to 166.66. So today on TSM, 170 is a must hold if you're looking for that pullback long. Qualcomm, a little bit weaker than the rest, so I don't know if Qualcomm is going to be my top watch today. Qualcomm feels just a slight bit weaker, but it did pull back to a big level here, right at 200. So I would just say watch 200 today on Qualcomm, guys. 200 has to be a hold level. I'd say keep an eye on that Qualcomm 200. ARM 150, right? We've been waiting for that 150 pullback. If we go to the daily chart, what is the 150 pullback? Remember we talked about ARM for a long time, right? We said, hey, I'm not going to chase ARM. I'm going to wait for it to actually pull back. That's what I'm going to wait for. I'm going to wait for ARM to pull back and give me a better entry. And so take a look at this, right? 150 was that very clear daily chart high right there. 150. And we have broken out. You guys know, right? This is that feeling. You got to sort of think about this, okay? Think about this area. Let's take a second and think about this area right here, right? This is a good little learning lesson for us here on the live stream. During this time frame, okay, hold on. I got to run an ad because we still don't have 1,000. Ads. Here comes the ads. So, right, let's take a second and think about what this time frame or the emotion of this move here on ARM. So you get above 150, you start to run away with it, right? You have this big day on ARM. This was a huge day on ARM. This was almost a 10% green day on ARM, straight to the upside. And you start to feel like this thing's gone, right? And so what I always say, and you guys know this, and I say this every day on the live stream, don't chase these moves. The pullback will come. The retest will come. It always does, right? And almost 99% of the time, maybe a week or 2 weeks later, you see that retest come in, right? And so this is exactly what ARM is doing, all right? We didn't chase it. If you longed it at 177, you got screwed because you chased it. And this is where you're actually more interested now because, hey, look at what ARM has provided us. It has provided us a pullback to that previous high. This is an important retest. If this holds, this could be very interesting. Maybe it needs to drop a little bit lower to that daily 20 SMA. That is very important as well. We could watch that. But something to be paying attention to here, guys, right? We got our pullback. We got our pullback, and we got our retest to 150, something we've been waiting for. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. All right, let's keep an eye on this. Maybe we look to see if this trend breaks. Let's see if 150 maybe starts to curl. Definitely interested to see if 150 holds on ARM and if it provides a new opportunity. If ARM moves lower, it might need to just peak down to around that 144, which is where that daily 20 SMA is. That's also another level I'd be watching. SMCI. What a beautiful failure of the 100 SMA yesterday. We talked about this on the live stream. We said if SMCI gets under 880 and fails that 100 SMA, you will move lower. That is exactly what SMCI did. I saw a few of you guys reach out to me that you took this trade, so congratulations to you guys. I'm very happy to see that. This was exactly what we talked about. We said if SMCI goes under 880, fails the 100 SMA, you will move lower towards that 20 and 50. And that is exactly what SMCI did. So very nice there on SMCI yesterday. But where are we at now, right? We're right at the 830 demand, and we're back at the demand of the 20 and 50. And we're starting to look like we're trying to hold there. So what could SMCI do today? Well, if it holds 830, you might be able to see SMCI trade back into that 880 supply, right? Very possible. If you see that rejection, that could be another rejection spot to be aware of. But right now, SMCI is holding that 830, right? And that is going to be the level to watch today on SMCI, $830 per share. Okay. AVGO did that sort of somewhat of a gap fill move for us, right? We started to get that gap fill. If I go ahead and take off the after hours trading, you can see this is your gap fill move right here on AVGO on Broadcom under that 1650 level. We talked about this one. The gap fill really is at the 1505. Of course, we're going to have to see if the market continues lower. I don't think you'll get the AVGO gap fill, guys, if the market bounces today, right, or bounces at any point here before it gap fills. So if the NASDAQ does start to push higher, you're probably not going to see AVGO go full gap fill. But that was a nice little trade yesterday. I know a lot of you guys in the chat took this one. Shout out Chris. I think he took and did pretty well on this. So 1650, right? You can see we failed under it. We got that gap. We're in that gap right now. If the markets stay weak, okay? If the markets stay weak, if the NASDAQ sees more downside today and semiconductors continue to show weakness, this is definitely something to be watching, guys, right? More downside on AVGO back to that gap fill level, which is down to that 1505. So important to watch there. Something I would be paying attention to on that, on Broadcom. Apple. So Apple, it held above, it looked like it's holding like this 207 spot, which I'm not quite sure why. It's like 207, it's like 208. It's probably holding this previous high. That's probably where it's starting to try to hold. Yeah, right around that 208. So 205 is where I really wanted to see it down to. Didn't quite get there. Looks like it tried to maintain that 208, which is right here, right? 208, 205. So it looks like Apple's holding that 208. You can see right here, 208 maintaining. I'd like to see it down to that 205.50. We'll see if we get there. But there's a very clear reason to be cautious on longs on Apple, and here's why. It is still rejecting previous lows, okay? Apple is still rejecting previous lows. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Previous low, new high, new high. That's still concerning, all right? That is still a bearish structure, okay? So I still want to see Apple do a little bit more before feeling confident. I want to see it really hold above 212. That's really what I'm going to want to see. If I see Apple hold above 212, then I think that's your long for that 215 push. But right now, it looks like you're stuck between 208 and 212. About a 4-point range. Meta. We talked about Meta longs yesterday off 499. It created a little bit of a long, but man, did that thing fail, right? It was not able to hold. We'll go to the hourly chart. I still like the consolidation and sort of this downside move on Meta in the short term, right? I still like how this is sort of slowly fading to the downside, really not dropping aggressively. I still think this is a strong hold above 491. So you can see we're still maintaining above that daily 20. We're still maintaining above this 491 demand. The problem we have here on Meta is that the pops are failing, right? And I don't like that. I don't like when pops fail. You can see right here, just a lot of selling after upside moves. So could you look for short-term longs, scalps? Yes, absolutely. But you need to understand if you do enter Meta that you are seeing aggressive fails of this 505 level, right? 505 aggressively failing again yesterday, and we're back under that 499. So I don't love it. You know, there's going to be a day where you get what you're looking for here, guys, is you're looking for a day to close above a level. So if we see a day that closes above 505, then you can say, all right, I think Meta may have a little bit something here. Or if a day closes above 499, then we can say, all right, we might have something here. But we are not, right? The intraday pops and fades are not something we really want to deal with. Right now, that is really all that Meta is doing. So if it pulls back to this 491, then I would say you could look for that long entry down here because that's a big spot. But you do need to be aware that this thing continues to pop and fail. Google. I am long Google. Full transparency. Just like CNBC does when someone talks. They make sure they let people know what their portfolio looks like. Well, I am long Google right now. So just to be open about it. Why am I still long Google? Because it held above 180 all day. All right. This is a beautiful retest in the making still, in my eyes. Right. You can see right here, 180 is still holding. You have a previous major high at 180, and you held above it all day yesterday, even with the NASDAQ downside that came in. Right. It fought through that NASDAQ downside and maintained above 180 all day. So I am going to hold this long as it's over 180. Right, you can see 180 previous highs, and look at the hold that's coming in above it. So I like this, right? If the market has some strength, I think Google will be one that outperforms. So as long as Google's above 180, this is a very big retest, guys. Even on the 4-hour chart, take a look at this 4-hour chart, right? 4-hour chart, 180, 180. Look at that 180 hold that's coming in right now. That is a very important flip that I would be paying attention to. Of course, you're going to need NASDAQ strength. If you get it, I'd be watching what this does off 180 on Google. Microsoft, a maintain as well, right? A pretty bullish maintain as well. If we go to the 30-minute chart, we can see here Microsoft maintained very well yesterday, regardless of the market downside. We had a very nice rejection of 451. We knew that was possible, but we are still very clearly above the channel lows at 444. So for now, just a little bit of consolidation. Nothing wrong with that. If the market does find strength again, I think Microsoft is another candidate to watch for upside continuation in outperformance here on Microsoft. So we would need a move over 451, right? That's very important. If we get a move over 451, then I would look for that long. Or if we get a move back to 444, then I would be watching to see if that holds as well. Okay? Microsoft, another one that's slightly stronger than the rest. Amazon, we had a very clear rejection of all-time highs, right? Very nice. 190. We talked about that 190 fail. That's exactly what it did. We failed back under 188, and we moved back down to that 185. So really, it's just right back within this channel, guys. That's all it is. Amazon, 185 to 188. You're now stuck in a 3-point range. Let's go to Netflix. Netflix coming back down to a huge level here. Look at this hourly chart level. Hourly chart, you have a previous high here. You have previous lows here. And look at where Netflix came back down to yesterday. So Netflix needs to hold 665. Okay? That is a must hold. If you break 665, you're moving back down to that 658. If we go to the 30-minute chart, where do you want to see Netflix get back above for upside confirmation? Right here. 674. 674. 674. 674. You got to get back above that. If you can get above 674 and hold above it, that would be what I look for a long entry on Netflix. 674. Okay? What else? We can go over like some of the ancillary names. We did all the big ones that I usually like to look at. We can go over like MU. MU was a nice hold yesterday. Did I put back on the after hours? Yes, I did. Okay. That's NU, not MU. Sorry. MU actually quite outperforming in terms of semiconductors yesterday, right? Look at MU. Look at that 139 hold, right? And then look at the 144 rejection. So really just a consolidation, but you guys can see 139, 144, right? Wow, you guys really like coin, huh? What did we talk about on coin yesterday, guys? Nothing changed, okay? We talked about coin failing 220 for downside. That's exactly what it did, right? Exactly what it did. We said watch 220 to reject. That's exactly what it did. We're back at 220, so what do you look for again? 220 to reject. Same exact thing, guys. Yeah, MU has earnings, so probably something to stay away from. But, yeah, coin is the exact same thing as yesterday. We talked about 220 to reject. It did. It caused downside. 4-hour chart. And 220 is there again. So is this another rejection? That's what I'd look for, right? 220. See if that fails. That's a major previous low. If 220 rejects again, that could cause downside. If we get over 220, then this could be a little fake out, right? If we get back over 220 and we hold above it, this could be a little liquidity grab, a little fake out under 220, right? Look to see if you hold above or reject 220 today. That's the key. Guys, Boeing's doing nothing. Why are we trading Boeing? It's completely sideways for almost a month now. 2 months almost. I would not be trading something that's trading sideways for 2 months. Similar to like not wanting to trade Tesla. It's the same sort of thing until you see something maybe you're interested in. But Boeing, I mean, you're holding 170, 171, right? And you've done basically nothing. So pretty tough read there. I really don't like anything there. What else? Let's think. I think that's about it. We went over Microsoft. 3M, not an options trading stock that I'm going to go over. That's a buy and hold. Intraday volatility is at its low. Is very low, right? 1 minute chart. We're not trading 1 minute charts that look like this, right? It's just not an options trading stock. Buy stock if you like it. All right. Let's go back to the NASDAQ real quick before we head out. Take another peek at this NQES. Very clear levels, guys. 19,900, 19,750 on the NASDAQ futures. QQQ, 474, to 479. Very clear there. ES, we're still holding above that demand low. That is going to be a major low to watch. 55.10, 55.18. And SPY, that is all about the 543, 543.50 and the 542. Okay? All right. I think that's about it. If you guys could, press that like button before you head out. Hope you guys found some value in today's live stream, some key levels to be watching today on the market. It's going to be a lot about that ES level, man. This is probably going to be, I think this is your most important thing to be watching today, right here. Most important thing right here, guys. We'll walk away from the live stream with this. Most important thing to watch today is, does the S&P 500 hold above 55.10? If the S&P 500 moves under 55.10, that will be, in my opinion, the next unraveling move on the market that causes more downside. That is going to be the key. Are we above 55.10 or are we below it? That is the question that you need to continue to ask yourself today and the rest of the week. And until we see a real move off of this, that is going to be the level to watch. Okay? All right. Thank you guys again for being here. Thank you for all the subscribes and all the likes. Thank you for all the support. And I will see you tomorrow. Peace and love.